안녕하세요。おはようございます。私は、英語が苦手ですので、日本語で発表させていただきたいと思います。日本で、若手の社会起業家を育てるための H という団体を運営をしております。H と言いますのは、エントランス・フォー・デザイン・グローバル・アントレプレナーシップと、の頭文字を取ったものです。グローバルな視野に立った社会起業家を育てるための玄関口という意味を持っています。H では大きく3つのプログラムを提供しています。一つは、社会起業家を目指す若者のためのビジネスプランコンペです。2つ目は、社会起業家を育成するための、企業塾でございます。そして最後が今年度から始まったものですけれども、社会的企業の創業支援ファンドを持っております。以上大きく3つのプログラムで社会起業家の支援を行おうとしています。まずビジネスプランコンペの概要についてお話をします。ビジネスプランコンペでは、最初で6ヶ月の期間をかけています。まず、書類でのエントリーを受け付けて、それが毎年50件から60件ほどございます。
먼저 서류 전형에서 1차 지원을 합니다. 그래서 서류 전형에서 1차 먼저 참가를 하는데요. 보통 그 1년에 보면은 한 50건에서 60건, 그러니까 50팀에서 60팀 정도가 처음에 지원을 하게 됩니다.
それらのエントリーから書類選考で30組を選出をいたします。
보통 50팀에서 60팀 정도 저희가 이제 공고를 내면 거기에 지원을 하시게 되는데 그 합숙을 하고 이 합숙을 한 마지막 날 제2차 서류 심사에 대한 어떤 각종 서류 심사 자료라든가 필요한 것들을 제출을 하도록 요구를 합니다.
その第二次審査の書類選考を行い15組を選抜します。
그래서 저희가 합숙 후에 제2차 그 전형의 서류를 받아서 그 심사를 하고요. 그 이후에 제2차 서류 심사를 통해서 또 팀을 줄여가는 것이죠. 그래서 30개 팀, 그 다음에 합숙을 통해서 2차 선발을 하고 2차 선발은 15개 팀으로 줄이게 됩니다.
その15組に対して1対1でメンターと呼ばれる、起業家がメンタリングを行います。
이 15개 팀에 대해서는 1대1로 보통 이전에 그 사회에 먼저 경험을 했던 사회적 기업을 먼저 창업을 했던 그런 선배들이 멘토의 형태를 해서 1대1로 면담을 하게 됩니다.
その後、準決勝、決勝を経て最終の、チャンピオンを決めるということになります。
그래서 그 이후에 준결승, 결승 이렇게 이제 표현을 할 수 있을 것 같은데요. 그 이후에 5개 팀 그리고 그 다음에 최종적으로 이제 마지막 1개 팀이 결정이 되게 되는 것입니다.
先ほどメンターがつくと言いましたが、メンターはご覧のような方々です。 앞서서
그래서 저희가 이제 전형을 할 때, 서류 전형 이후에 심사를 할 때 1대1로 멘토링을 한다. 그러니까 멘토들이 같이 이야기를 한다, 면담을 한다고 말씀을 드렸는데요. 그 멘토들이 이제 어떤 사람인지 하는 것들이 여기 나와 있습니다. 그래서 그 각각 멘토들의 이력이 나와 있습니다.
私たちのメンターの特徴としては、実際にかつて起業を行った社会起業家たちが後輩のサポートを行う。そのためにそれぞれ団体や活動を持っている実務者が多くメンターとしてついています。
저희 그 조직의 멘토들의 특징은 이전에 먼저 그 사회적 기업을 창업한 적이 있는, 그러니까 지금 어떻게 보면 사회적 기업을 창업을 하려고 하는 사람들의 선배격이 되는 사람들이죠. 이 사람들이 각각 자신의 어떤 그 조직과 자신의 그 기관에서 일을 하면서 후배들에 대한 지원을 해주는 그런 형태를 취하고 있습니다.
過去、このビジネスプランコンペで優勝した、ビジネスプランの例がこちらです。
그래서 지금 여기 보시면은 과거에 그 소셜 비즈니스 플랜 공모전에서 이제 마지막 결승에서 이제 승리를 한 승자의 그 각각의 테마들이 나와 있습니다. 어떤 것들이 공모전에서 지금 테마로 뽑혔는지 하는 것이 페이지에 나와 있습니다.
2005年には、精神障害や知的障害を持っている子どもたちが絵を描いてそれを T シャツとして販売するそういったプランが、優勝いたしました。
2005년의 플랜 같은 경우에는요, 최종적으로 저희가 위너로 선정을 하게 된 팀이 어떤 팀이었냐면은 정신장애를 가지고 있는 그런 사람들이 또는 뭐 아이들이 그림을 티셔츠로 만들어서 그 티셔츠를 판매하는 그 프로젝트를 제안한 팀이 최종 승자로 뽑혔습니다.
このプランはビームスといいますファッションブランドとコラボレーションが実現をいたしまして、ビームスから T シャツとして販売をされました。約5000円ぐらいの比較的高額な商品として日本国内で販売されています。
이 프로젝트 같은 경우에는 굉장히 또 연결이 잘 돼서 일본에서 빔스라고 하는 그 패션 브랜드가 있습니다. 이쪽하고 같이 그 프로젝트를 할 수 있는 그런 기회가 주어졌습니다. 그래서 이 티셔츠를 빔스라고 하는 브랜드에서 직접 이제 만들어서 제작을 해서 굉장히 비싸게 팔았습니다. 그래서 티셔츠 한 장이 보통 5,000엔 정도로 일본 국내에서는 팔렸었습니다.
2007年には宗教上の理由でありますとか、またベジタリアンなどで食事制限のある方々のために食事の食材が分かりやすく表示されるための、アイコンですね、アイコンでの表示をするプランが優勝しました。
2007년에 또 재미있는 그 프로그램이 또 뽑혔는데요. 2007년 같은 경우에는 종교적인 이유라든가 또는 본인의 어떤 취향에 따라서 이 베지테리언들이 굉장히 많습니다. 그리고 또 어떤 뭐 석식장이나 또는 시기적인 면에서 식사 제한을 해야 되는 그런 사람들이 또 많이 있습니다. 그래서 이런 사람들을 위해서 식자재에 어떤 것들이 사용이 됐는지 하는 것을 이렇게 아이콘으로 알기 쉽게 표시를 해주는 프로젝트입니다. 그래서 이 프로젝트를 통해서 다른 어떤 문화를 가진 사람이라든가 자신과는 좀 다른 어떤 성향을 가진 사람에 대한 그 이해를 좀 더 촉진시키는 그런 프로젝트가 선정이 되었습니다.
今、前に表示されています向かって右側の図がそれらの絵です。
네, 그래서 이 아이콘으로 식자재를 표시를 해놓은 것이 지금 그 오른쪽에 보시면은 그 표시가 아이콘으로 들어가 있는데요. 오른쪽 중간에 표시가 되어 있습니다. 이런 아이콘으로 식자재를 그 요리에 사용된 식자재를 표시를 해주는 프로젝트였습니다.
この表示は先日日本で開催されました APEC の首脳会議のレセプションでも使用されています。
이 표시는 얼마 전에 요코하마에서 개최된 그 APEC 정상회의에서도 식자재, 그 요리에 대한 식자재로서 이런 그 표시가 사용이 됐습니다. 같은 표시가 사용이 됐습니다.
過去、このようなプランが優勝しておりますけれども、この中でもすでに収支ともに自律的な運営を行っている団体もありますし、また一部にはまだこれから発展途上の段階のものもあります。
과거에 보면 2005년부터 올해 2010년까지 이런 플랜들이, 이런 제안들이 저희 공모전에서 우승했습니다. 이 중에는 일부 이미 자립을 해서 조직을 만들어서 단체가 운영이 되고 있는 그런 것도 있고요. 또 일부는 앞으로 구체적으로 이제 활동을 하기 위해서 조직을 만들기 위해서 지금 준비를 하고 있는 그런 팀들도 있습니다.
次が社会企業塾でございます。
네, 두 번째 말씀드렸던 프로그램인데요. 그 사회적 기업 훈련소 같은 것이 있는데요. 이 훈련소를 저희가 운영을 하고 있습니다.
これは、若手の社会起業家から、コンサルタント料を、毎月頂戴をしまして、コンサルティングを実施するというものです。
이것은 그 젊은 그 사회적기업가들로부터 저희가 컨설테이션 삐를 받고, 그러니까 컨설팅 비용을 받고 이 컨설테이션을 해주는 그런 사례가 되겠습니다.
先ほどのメンターが、それぞれの起業家に対して、3時間程度の、面談やコンサルテーションを定期的に行うことになっています。
앞서서 제가 잠깐 소개드렸던 그 저희 조직의 멘토들이 기업가들이 젊은 그 사회적기업가들을 대상으로 해서 3시간 정도 매번 할 때마다 한 회당 3시간 정도 멘토로서 참여를 해서 여러 가지 조언을 해주거나 또는 이제 컨설팅을 해주는 그런 활동들을
また合宿での研修も、行われています。
그리고 이런 그 교육의 일환으로서 저희가 그 학습 형태로 해서 트레이닝을 진행하고 있습니다.
次がファンドの説明をしたいです。
그리고 세 번째 저희 그 기관에서 하고 있는 프로그램 중에서 펀드 관련해서 말씀을 드렸는데 펀드에 대해서 말씀을 드리도록 하겠습니다.
このファンドは今年度から自が実施をしているものです。
이 펀드는 저희가 올해부터 실시가 된 펀드가 되겠습니다.
日本では今年度から政府が社会起業家の支援のために約70億円の予算をつけております。
일본에서는 지금 일본 정부가 이 사회적 기업가들의 그 지원 그리고 육성을 위해서 올해부터 2010년부터 약 70억 엔 정도의 예산을 배분을 하고 있습니다.
その予算の一部を用いて実施をするファンドです。
그 예산의 일부를 또 저희가 받아서 지금 하고 있는 프로그램이 바로 이 펀드 프로그램이 되겠습니다.
2年間にわたって約30社に対して200万円から500万円の企業支援金を提供することになっています。
약 2년 동안 30개 회사를 대상으로 해서 200만 원에서 약 500만 원 정도의 지원금을 줄 수 있는 그런 시스템이 되겠습니다.
このプログラムを通して、私どもは大きく3つの、サポートを行いたいと考えています。
저희는 이런 프로그램을 통해서 3가지 정도의 지원을 하려고 하고 있습니다.
まず第1には資金提供でございます。
먼저 첫 번째는 이 펀드이기 때문에 아무래도 첫 번째는 자금적인 지원을 하려고 하고 있습니다.
この資金は人件費や家賃など、創業当初に必要である費用の大部分に充当することが可能です。
이 자금 같은 경우에는 기본적인 인건비라든가 그런 회사를 설립을 하게 되면 회사를 창업을 하게 되면 그쪽으로 들어가야 되는 뭐 회사 임대료라든가 이런 부분 그러니까 창업에 필요한 그 가장 기본적인 부분에 대해서는 이 자금을 가지고 어느 정도 투자를 할 수 있게 하고자 하는 것이 저희의 기본적인 목표가 되겠습니다.
2番目には、先ほどと同じようにコンサルテーションやトレーニングの機会を、提供いたします。
그리고 두 번째는 이 펀드를 이용을 해서 앞서서 저희가 소개를 드렸던 사회적 기업가, 청년 사회적 기업가에 대한 컨설테이션이라든가 그리고 트레이닝의 기회를 좀 더 늘릴 수 있을 것이라고 생각합니다.
また、エッジとして、その起業家が、コラボレーションをしたり、またさまざまな機関とつながることの、調整などを行ってもいきます。
그리고 또 이 기업가들이 각종 다른 분야와 협업을 하게 되거나 아니면 네트워킹을 원하는 경우에는 이런 부분에 대한 협조, 그리고 조언도 저희가 충분히 가능할 것으로 생각합니다.
これらのことを通して資金面だけではなく、それぞれの起業家が安定軌道に乗るための、経営の、在り方などについてもトレーニングを行っています。
이러한 지원들을 통해서 자금적인 면, 그러니까 재정적인 면에 대한 지원뿐만 아니라 이 사회적 기업을 창업을 하려는 사회적 기업가가 처음에 창업을 할 때 여러 가지 이제 필요한 경영적인 어떤 방법, 노하우라든가 이런 부분까지도 저희가 트레이닝을 할 수가 있게 되는 것입니다.
このファンドの提供には、いくつかの条件などがあります。
하지만 이 펀드를 제공을 받기 위해서는 반드시 이제 충족해야만 하는 몇 가지 조건들이 있습니다.
私どもエッジは若手の社会起業家を育成するということを目的としていますので、40歳までの方を対象にしています。
저희 에지 같은 경우에는 청년들의 창업을 지원을 하기 때문에 사회적 기업 창업을 지원을 하기 때문에 40세까지를 연령적인 제한을 두고 있습니다.
他にもいくつかの条件がありますけれども、 基本的には、若い方であればどなたでも、ご応募いただけるものになっています。
기본적으로 이 청년이어야 된다, 좀 젊어야 된다는 응모 조건이 가장 중요한 조건이 되겠습니다.
現在、私どもが、サポートを行っています、メンバーは、ご覧の4つのチームです。
이 펀드를 활용해서 저희가 재정적인 지원을 하고 있는 팀이 있습니다. 전체적으로 지금 이렇게 4개 팀에 대해서 저희가 지원을 하고 있습니다.
例えばいくつかを紹介しますと、品川塾というプランがございます。
여기 보시면 세 번째 이 시나가와라고 하는 대표 프로젝트가 있습니다.
このプロジェクトは現在日本にも海外から多くの旅行者の方が来られていますけれども、比較的安い費用でお泊まりいただけるそういった宿を提供するというプロジェクトです。
이 시나가와 프로젝트 같은 경우는 숙박 장소를 제공해주는 프로젝트가 되겠는데요. 최근 일본에서 동경 같은 경우에는 해외에서 많은 그런 배낭여행가라든가 여행을 즐기는 사람들이 많이 방문을 합니다. 그래서 이 사람들을 대상으로 해서 굉장히 싼 가격에, 저렴한 가격에 일본의 문화를 체험할 수 있는 그런 숙박 장소를 제공해주는 프로젝트를 저희가 지원하고 있습니다.
こうしたゲストハウスは海外では多くの事例がありますが、単にゲストハウスの運営だけではなく、品川という地域全体のまちづくりを外国の観光客の方々と一緒に行う、そういったところに特徴があります。
그런데 단순히 뭐 게스트하우스의 개념으로 본다면 이 게스트하우스에 대한 무슨 지원 사례라든가 성공 사례 같은 경우에는 일본에가 있고 그리고 또 해외에도 좋은 사례들이 많이 있을 것입니다. 하지만 이 시나가와 프로젝트 같은 경우에는 이 게스트하우스의 운영을 통해서 단순히 어떤 숙박 장소를 제공하는 것뿐만 아니라 이 시나가와라는 지역에 대한 그 지역의 활성화 그리고 그 지역을 좀 더 외국인과 함께 살 수 있는 공생할 수 있는 그런 지역사회를 만들고자 하는 그런 활동을 외국인들과 함께 한다는 개념이 여기에는 도입이 되기 때문에 저희가 지원을 하기로 결정을 한 것입니다.
日本的な課題にアプローチしているプランとしてはアットスクールがあります。
그리고 앱스쿨 두 번째인데요. 이번 같은 경우에 이 프로젝트 같은 경우에 굉장히 일반적인 어떤 문제, 그런 과제를 해결하기 위해서 노력을 하고 있는 그런 프로젝트라고 볼 수가 있겠습니다.
日本では離婚などによって一人親となっている家庭が数多くあります。
일본 같은 경우에는 일본도 이혼율이 굉장히 높기 때문에 싱글 마더라든가 또는 그 반대의 경우 싱글 파더 같은 경우 굉장히 좀 수가 많습니다.
そういった家庭の子どもは経済的な事情によってなかなか学校以外での教育を受ける機会というのが制限をされています。
그런 배경을 가진 집의 아이들 같은 경우에는 경제적인 이유도 그렇고 뭐 시간상의 이유 제약도 있기 때문에 학교 이외의 어떤 다른 교육을 경험을 하는 것은 좀 많은 제약을 받는 것이 사실입니다.
そういった子どもたちに奨学金と教育の機会を提供するというプロジェクトです。
이런 아이들에게 어떻게 보면 돈으로 재정적으로 장학금을 주거나 또는 이런 아이들이 학교 이외에서 좀 더 다른 시간에 교육을 받을 수 있게 좀 더 아이들이 안전하게 교육을 받을 수 있는 그런 교육의 기회를 제공하는 그런 활동을 하고 있습니다.
最後の、スライドは日本語になってしまってますけれども、申し訳ございません。
그리고 여러분들이 가지고 계신 이제 마지막 슬라이드에 대해서 말씀드리겠습니다. 이것이 번역이 안 되고 일본어로 들어가 있는데요.
以上、先ほど説明したところでの私どもレジの企業家育成の特徴ですが、大きく3つが考えられています。
지금 이 페이지는 지금까지 설명드린 내용을 요약해서 정리를 한 것입니다. 그래서 저희 엣지의 창업가, 기업가 육성 중에 단체를 정리를 해놓습니다.
1つ目は、比較的長期にわたる初期段階の支援を行うということでございます。 초기 지원을 충실하게 한다는 점입니다. 事業のプランニングやマーケティングなどについて6ヶ月間、かけて事業計画書を作るという作業をしております。
앞서도 잠깐 제가 설명드렸습니다만 이 사업 플래닝이라든가 또는 마케팅에 대해서 천천히 좀 시간을 6개월 정도 시간을 들여서 제대로 된 사업 계획서를 만들 수 있도록 지원을 하고 있습니다.
2つ目が実際にかつて起業した、先輩の起業家たちが、その後輩たちの指導を行うということです。
그리고 두 번째는 영업을 한 먼저 창업의 경험이 있는 사회적 기업가가 후배들을 지원하는 그런 형태를 취하고 있습니다.
それによってより実践的なかつ現場に属した支援が可能になる。
이러한 지원을 통해서 이런 조언들을 통해서 보다 더 현실적이고 실천적이고 그리고 현장 밀착적인 그런 지원을 해줄 수가 있다는 느낌이 있습니다.
最後が、私どもとしては単に起業家を生み出すことだけが重要ではないと考えています。
그리고 마지막 세 번째가 되겠는데요. 저희는 단순히 이렇게 사회적 기업가를 많이 배출해내는 것만이 의미가 있는 일이라고는 생각하지 않습니다.
生み出した起業家がお互いにつながり合いながらコミュニティを形成し、お互いに成長し合う、そういった仕組みを作ることが私たちの目標だと考えています。
이렇게 배출된 기업가들이, 창업가들이 서로를 이어갈 수 있도록, 서로가 연결될 수 있도록 이렇게 네트워킹을 하고, 그리고 또 서로 커뮤니티를 만드는 것, 그래서 하나로 서로 연결된 그런 하나의 구조를 만드는 것이 저희 최종적인 목표라고 생각합니다.
これらを通して私たちは日本での社会的起業をより一層促進をしたいと考えています。どうもありがとうございました。
이런 활동들을 통해서 일본에서의 사회적 기업가들을 저희는 더 많이 배출하고 또 이들을 더 육성하기 위해서 지원을 앞으로도 계속해 나갈 생각입니다. 대표님 이상입니다. 감사합니다.
This initiative called Youth Social Exercise Initiative. Basically, the idea behind this initiative is that young people have lots of innovative ideas, and we should find ways to kind of support young people to work on these ideas and then bring them to whatever scale they want to bring them. So, basically, what our initiative does is that we help, we basically help young entrepreneurs apply for a program with us. We give them some kind of capacity building inputs, we give them mentorship, we connect them with some networks, we provide them with some knowledge, and in the hope that this whole recipe would kind of work, that they will be able to come out with something which is good, substantial, and is very much needed in India. This is what the whole idea of YCI is. So this is co-founded by three guys. Sumit, he's also here in this conference. Simon, who runs a company called Solve Poverty, and myself. Yeah. I think one unique thing between me and Sumit was that more than investors or people with this background in the corporate sector or investing, we were at some point in time young social entrepreneurs ourselves. At least I was young sometime back when I started my own organization. And the whole idea of ESE was kind of drawn from the experiences that we had when we were growing up and when we were trying to set up these enterprises and the challenges that we were kind of facing. So the way we have designed ESE is coming from that experience rather than from the experience of, let's say, investment banking and all. So when we had this whole ESE competition running on, we had lots of people who come and kind of apply to be a YCI fellow and be eligible for funding. So basically what we are looking for, other than what they want to do, what is their idea of that is good enough or not, is that whether they have some kind of a blended social kind of return on investment or not. So money-wise it should make sense. Yeah. The project should be sustainable, of course. But they should have a social value also. But at the same time, they should be nice and kind to the environment. And as I said, our support components include knowledge, so some access to networks. We provide finance, and then we kind of support. This is one of the guides which we developed. This is like a compressed business planning guide for social entrepreneurs. This guide is available for free download from yci.org. So anybody can come over here and download this guide. So this we found was a really good tool for young people to structure what they wanted to do. Because you have to imagine that a lot of 20-year-old, 22-year-old guys will come to us, although generally they'll have some idea. Yeah. And probably that is what they have. They have that idea, they have lots of passion. So they need some help in also structuring how they go about planning their venture. Now, this is a slide I want to spend some time on. When we said that we want to support young social entrepreneurs, I would say one of the must component for us was providing some money to them. Yeah. And why this was so critical was that, so when, for example, in 2001, when I was starting co-founding Mitra, I was probably 23, 24 at the time. There was nobody who was willing to give us money because I had no background in either business or in the social sector. I had just come out of university. Yeah. And if I went to a funding organization, a grant-making organization, they were not willing to support us. They typically support organizations who have some history. Yeah. They just don't support young people who are 24 years old and have some idea and they will give them. So for us, it was really very important that we give young people some money. That is really a validation of their idea that somebody is really willing to put money on them. Yeah. So there are lots of, and at least I can talk to you here, lots of incubating organizations. There are lots of conferences, workshops where young people can actually go and get knowledge. But it is very, very difficult and challenging to find finance. So a lot of people willing to give knowledge, a lot of people ready to mentor them, very few ready to actually back them with money. So we thought this is really the most critical piece for us. And as I said, the challenge was on one side, of course, the people who can give you equity or debt. Yeah, a 22-year-old guy, some idea, no structure, no business plan. Yeah. And on the other hand, they had their grant-making organizations. Yeah, they typically fund social projects, NGOs with some track record. And so our role was really, how do we actually give that seed or the startup money, the initial fee? Yeah, so that eventually organizations that we support are able to, they are eligible for either the equity debt or they are eligible for some grants. So this is basically our process form. So as I explained to you, the blended social return, the investment criteria, offer proposal, green selection. Then another thing that we do is once we have selected a batch, we kind of bring them onto a same platform. We do a social entrepreneurs workshop. Now there are two reasons why we do this, other than giving them some knowledge. One is actually as we kind of interact with them more face to face and the group, it validates whether we have selected the right person or not. Yeah. And even at that stage, it is not too late to kind of say, what, maybe this is not a good time, maybe we can discuss this later on. Yeah. And the second is that in Southeast Asia, people who are working on these issues, yeah, they're working alone. Yeah. So when people come in a workshop and there's another 20 people like them who also have some crazy ideas, it is for them a validation that they're not crazy really. There are other people who are willing to do this kind of work. And most importantly, this group stays with them as they grow in the fellowship and as they start doing their thing, they start working on their venture. This becomes their peer support network. Yeah. So in most times, rather than, if they are facing a problem, rather than coming to YSCI, yeah, they would actually go to a fellow, a ESA fellow, somebody who was there in that graduate class of fellowship. This becomes a really, really peer support network. That's why it's really important for us to kind of do a workshop where people come together and they discuss things. As I said, these two are the most important thing, and of course we also provide them with some knowledge and all of that. That goes and then money, and finally this is a portfolio of social enterprises that we can kind of so in Pakistan, a fair trade and a employment organization, Malaysia on a life skills and fair trade. I think similar banks. India also you have something on agriculture, microfinance, then fair trade. rural lighting, mobile tech centers, so basically outsourcing work. It's a kind of, and there are a range of organizations. So some of them are, for-profit organizations, some of them are non-profit enterprises. I just want to spend some time on two case studies. Yeah. So one is this organization. This is a non-profit organization called Community Friendly Movement. The entrepreneur that is supported was a guy called Jaspal Shakya. And basically what they do is that they work with artisans. India has about 1 billion artisans and people who develop handicraft. Yeah. But as the rest of the world and India is kind of using more machine-made clothes and things, these people don't find markets for them in India, or they are able to get value out of what they are making. So as a result, they are very poor. Yeah. Most of the artisans in India are very poor. The role of community friendly movement is really to kind of organize these artisans, buy their products, and try and sell them in Western markets. Yeah. And if they're able to get a premium, then get that premium back to the artisan. So, in short, the artisans make more money by getting associated with CFM and so we supported them. And so the total money that we have given to them right at the beginning was about $15,000. And in 2009 and 10, last year they closed their balance sheet. They have done a total time of $15,000. And thanks largely to work with the social entrepreneur was kind of very, very committed person, very, very good support and networks and good. Then there's another organization that we supported. This is based out of the Philippines. This is an agency that, it's a non-profit agency that helps other non-profits with communication and design. Yeah. So if a non-profit wanted to develop a logo, yeah, instead of going to a Ogilvy and maybe charge, and they will charge them a bombshell, they can go and to Ideals, and Ideals will actually help them with their branding and logo and all those kind of things. They will also help you with communication design kind of workshop. Yeah. So again, the support that they got from us was 40,000. And I'm not sure about what is the turnover they're doing, but when they came to us, they had 3 clients, and now they're working with 47 clients across the Philippines. So these are two of our star projects, and there are other projects also which are also doing equally well. And there are lots of projects. I mean, and I'm not embarrassed to accept that here. Lots of projects which are not working. And so the projects that I was looking at, which one are the projects which are working? And there were some common themes in that. So what was very interesting was that the projects that are working really well, all of them are sustainability focused. And what I mean by sustainability focused is that these entrepreneurs have figured out a business model. And what I mean by a business model is that they know exactly what service they are selling, what is the value they are adding to the system, and there is some person who is willing to pay for that service. And as long as this is true, these organizations are kind of doing well. On the other hand, the ones who are non-successful, who are not doing as well as we thought they could be doing, are the ones who are actually, so they were able to start up, but then they have got into this whole thing of raising grants, fundraising through associations and all of that, and probably the market today is not mature enough to give them the value for the service that they are kind of they are providing. Yeah, and so that has been a challenge with organizations that are not doing so well. And the other interesting thing is that organizations are doing well. So we were just one of their partners. So we were just one of their support networks. Like YSCI was there. But they had their own support and networks. So they were really, in the truest sense of the word, they were really entrepreneurial. They used this, so they used the validation they got from YSCI, go out and get more support, get more partners, and they were doing it on their own without us pushing them to do it. They don't go out and do this, networking, do that. They did all these things on their own. So increasingly, the community-friendly movement was able to raise investment up to $100,000 Indian recent projects from Ford Foundation because of the networking that they were able to do. And I'm sure Mariel and her group was able to grow because they just went beyond YSCI. They just took our support as the one, they gave them a push, and not just depend on us forever, and they just went on their own. But I think this is really important. I mean, of course, we provided them with some money and some support that we could provide them. But at the end, I would say it was just sheer luck that the people we were working with and the ones who were successful, they're just amazing people. They're amazing social entrepreneurs. If they had gone to somebody else, if they had the money, in their back pocket, then they would have done equally well. It was not like something that we did. Maybe the timing was an issue with us that we were at a time where they needed their support and we gave them support. Otherwise, personally, I believe some of the guys that we supported would have done well, irrespective of whether we supported them or somebody else kind of supported them. Because these are just amazing, entrepreneurs. And last but not the least, when CFM was doing well, the market conditions were really good, because there was a lot of appetite, a lot of demand from the US and Europe for handicraft markets, and so that was one. And I think similarly for Mariel in the environment where she is working, the Ideals Group in the Philippines, and lots of non-profit organizations who are looking for that kind of support. So the really favorable market conditions. And sometimes, I believe that some of the entrepreneurs are not able to do well. It's also because the ecosystem that they are working in doesn't really support that. There is probably not enough people who are willing to pay for services. And the projects that are not kind of working, there was one common theme. Was it the entrepreneur or the social entrepreneur that we were backing, even after they've given them financial support, were just busy doing too many things. This wasn't just one thing that they were doing. They were not focused on one thing. They were at the same time experimenting 4 or 5, which is understandable. Like when you're 23, you believe that your sky is the limit. We want to do more and more things and not just be focused on one. There is this really, in our experience, led to the downfall of a lot of kind of. The other was, so the 2 successful cases that I explained, these guys had other people in their team also. They were not just one person who was doing it. In a lot of cases where there was just one entrepreneur. There was no team, not even a single person he has employed or he has an office or any structure. The tendency to do it was very, very easy. There was no barrier. If I'm not feeling good, I'm really depressed, I have nobody to talk to about my things, I'm actually alone, I have not really hired somebody. Then for me to quit is easy. If I have a team, if I have a co-founder, then you can at least talk to the person, he will also share the same frustration, and then you will kind of, you will figure it out. Okay, other interesting thing which we noticed was that for a lot of people who were not successful was, there was no skin in the game. So what I mean by no skin in the game was that from their side, they had not taken any pains. So whatever money we gave to them, that was the only thing. So they had not invested even a single dollar, I would say, either before the project or during the project. And when there was no skin in the game, our investment was like a grant, it was like free money that was coming to them, and they said, okay, fine, we will see if it works. If it works, that's very good. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And the other thing was that, because they had no team, they were doing too many things, they also had a lot of competing opportunities. So sometimes if a fellow was working with us on one idea, and he was also working on 4 more ideas, and he just got a bigger grant somewhere else, so he would just stop this one and kind of move on to another. And And again, these guys are doing lots of things. Just a bunch of things they're doing. There's no structure to the work. There's no team, as I said. Those kind of things. And I think we kind of realized that, and as I said, because our background is not in investment, yeah, and we were ourselves social entrepreneurs, so we were willing to extend help to just everybody. We were willing to say, yeah, I mean, if we found a guy had lots of passion, he had a good idea, and we could, almost in all cases, identify ourselves with him or her. And we ended up then supporting a lot of people who were in this case, see, our role was really to prepare them. We cannot prepare. Yeah. So when there was a fundamentally wrong selection that we made, there was nothing we could really kind of do about it. And I said, we're not embarrassed to accept this. There are lots of such cases that we kind of made. So in short, I think our experience has been that yes, there are lots of young people who are willing to come out and do important things, create their enterprises, have a social focus and all that. As an incubator, our experience has been that there are a few who will invariably be unsuccessful. But there are lots who can be successful if they can be provided with some structure, the right kind of inputs, and most importantly, if they can be provided with some kind of seed money. And in retrospect, I do believe that if we had some investment banking, finance kind of a background, and we were also not driven so much by passion, we would have done better than what we can do. In the place where I'm from, India, there are lots and lots of now incubating houses which are kind of coming up. So all of the work that we started in about 2006. And so, and at that point of time, there was nobody who was willing to support young social entrepreneur, other than one venture which was run by Ashoka called Ashoka Venture. And now we have a bunch of organizations that are kind of doing it. One is a UK-based organization called Unlimited. So they have offices now in India. They're also opening up in Thailand. And then there's a new company called Morpheus. They are also helping young people. There's a confederation of Indian industry. It's a big industrial conglomerate. They are actually supporting a lot of young entrepreneurs with both finance and kind of non-finance. So it's been an adventurous kind of a roller coaster ride for us, and that's been